Zodiac. Just the name. It sounds sinister. It inspires fear. The fact that a serial killer would give himself this moniker is disturbing. He would go on to taunt police by sending letters and codes to newspapers for years. And the attacks, they were something else altogether. If you were a young couple in a secluded area, you could easily be a target. And it wasn't just shootings on dark lovers' lanes. Zodiac would even attack with a knife in broad daylight while wearing an executioner-style hood. After a while, Zodiac changed tactics, and even lone cab drivers weren't safe. The Zodiac killer terrorized the San Francisco Bay Area and then vanished. But he left a lot of clues behind along the way. Clues that we're going to talk about in this podcast as we dissect the Zodiac case and sort fact from fiction while exploring the lore of the case. I'm Mike Morford, and I've been researching the Zodiac case for years. I've established connections with investigators on the case and poured through thousands of pages from police reports and files. I've consulted for television shows about the Zodiac, and I've run the website ZodiacKillersite.com for several years. I'm confident I know this case well, but knowing it as well as I do, I also know that to best explore this case on a podcast, I needed a partner that also knew this case as well as I did. Someone who had spent thousands of hours trying to figure out the nuances of the Zodiac. That's why I teamed up with Richard Grinell.
Hiya Mike, nice to be teaming up with you on this series that will run through the basics for people new to the case, but will also explore many more in-depth and unanswered questions regarding the Zodiac case, hopefully with the aim of covering topics rarely, if ever, covered on Zodiac podcasts. I, unlike you, have never heard of the Zodiac Killer until 10 years ago, when in 2011 I was searching the internet for puzzles and games to occupy myself. I inadvertently stumbled across the 340 cipher and, like many before me, attempted to solve it and failed. I returned to it some 6 months later, which is when I found the rest of the Zodiac communications. Unfortunately, I was hooked and decided to create a website where I could explore the crimes and communications in more detail, producing my first article in January 2012. And here we are, 9 years and 700 articles later. It's getting much more difficult to keep creating fresh website content, so it's nice to join forces with you, Mike, for a new challenge. I hope the listeners will give me a chance as I adapt to this new format. If people want to visit my website, they can find it under zodiacciphers.com.
Please join Richard and I as we set about trying to unravel one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries, the case of the Zodiac Killer. New episodes of our podcast, Zodiac Speaking, come out every other Saturday starting March 13, 2021. Subscribe today wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss a single episode.